Hey everyone, I just got back from recording a full hour with Nicole Wallace on her show, and we covered a lot of topics, and I'll be right back to discuss them, but first take a look. In the last segment, you had former Senator John Tester. I've known Senator Tester since he came to the U.S. Senate. I actually knew him briefly before he came to the U.S. Senate. I couldn't buy him dinner when he was in the U.S. Senate, okay? I couldn't buy him a gift of anything beyond something nominal when he was in the U.S. Senate. This is not just in violation of the principles of the gift rules. This just puts those principles off by the side. If there is one thing that the founders of our country believed, it is not just that we wouldn't have a king, but we wouldn't take gifts from kings. It's literally in the Constitution that we do not allow princes and foreign governments to give things of value to the United States or to the president. That was central to what the founders had in mind that they were worried about. That was corruption to them. That was way out of bounds to them. And this is just making a mockery of the Constitution. It is making a mockery of our judicial system. It is making a mockery of Republicans who run Congress, who are going to do nothing. Some of them will say they didn't know there was a plane. Some of them will say they haven't paid attention to the details of the plane. Some of them will allege that maybe the Emiratis know better how to build planes. There will be all kinds of made-up explanations for why they do absolutely nothing. But they are just that. They are just excuses. The idea that we are turning to the Department of Justice as any kind of neutral arbiter is just a joke. Pam Bondi is as much the Attorney General as Stephen Miller is. And Stephen Miller is not even a lawyer. She plays the part of an Attorney General. But if Donald Trump and the White House came to her and said, I want to turn over the United States' entire reserve of money and assets to, some foreign dictator, she would sign a memo saying that's fine. There is nothing Pam Bondi will say no to Donald Trump for. She is in this position because she is a compliant sycophant. So the idea that she signed a memo, who cares that she signed a memo? She would sign her name to anything Donald Trump asked her to. To compare it to the process that Merrick Garland went through, I had my criticisms of Merrick Garland's process as being overly lawyered, but Pam Bondi's not lawyering. She's just bowing and scraping.
Wow. If you have no shame and you don't care about the appearance of foreign influence buying access to you, there's also no limit to how much money you can make.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think we need to recognize two things squared away around this. The first is, as Glenn said, this is a meme coin. It is not that Donald Trump is offering access to people who have bought gold, right? Something that has value. These are people who are buying something that is not worth anything. And that
Explain that.
And that the only beneficiary of this is Donald Trump and his family. In other words, this is a coin that was created by the Trump family.
It's like a baseball card version of crypto.
Correct, exactly. It's not like Bitcoin or something else that people trade on the market as a store of value. It's a way to buy something to put money in the pocket of Donald Trump and his family. So that's number one, is that this is not giving money to a political campaign or to a party committee. This is literally giving money to Donald Trump. The second thing is something that Eddie said, and I think this is oftentimes overlooked in all of these discussions. The Department of Justice right now occupies a unique place. It is there, number one, to justify things that Donald Trump wants justified, whether that is purchasing or being gifted airplanes, whether it's putting people in foreign gulags, whatever it is that he wants, they are there to justify. Number two, and this is where Eddie's point is spot on, it is to excuse whatever Donald Trump's Republican allies do. So whatever they do becomes legal because it gets washed through the the Department of Justice. And if the Department of Justice won't prosecute it and the Department of Justice will bless it, then whatever Republicans do becomes legal. The third, though, is it is there to go after his political opponents. It is there to be hyper-partisan in prosecuting his political enemies, in going after his political enemies. So you have kind of this three-tiered system of justice. Number one, whatever the president wants to do, he gets to do, no matter how gross, disgusting, and unconstitutional. Number two, Donald Trump can bestow favors on his political allies by essentially letting them get away with what they want. And number three, he can rain terror on his political enemies through the same mechanism. And so those three things have created a very, very dangerous political situation, an untenable legal situation, and honestly, a constitutional crisis, which will eventually rear itself in some pretty ugly ways. When there were January 6th individuals who had been convicted and were in the DC jails, Republican members of Congress insisted that they had a right to go visit them, and they were allowed to do so. The fact is that the Constitution and federal law gives that same right to visit and inspect these detention facilities. The fact that we are only a little bit more than 100 days in, and already we have moved the goalposts. Donald Trump has moved the goalposts from, I'm going to remove from the country the worst of the worst, the criminals. By definition, criminals, someone convicted of a crime. We have moved from that to, we are going to remove people who we suspect are criminals, to we are going to remove people and oops, we may have made a mistake, to we are going to remove people and we accidentally or intentionally violated court orders, to now we are removing 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds who are U.S. citizens. We've done that in just a little over 100 days. And now they want to say that the enforcement mechanisms, the oversight mechanisms to make sure this doesn't happen, to make sure that our elected representatives know what is happening, that those people can be manhandled, those people can be blocked, those people can be threatened and intimidated with, investigation and prosecution themselves. This is a very dark place we are, and it is about time that everyone wakes up and realizes that you may be sitting right now in the comfort of your home thinking this won't happen to you. I'm here to tell you that it is starting where it starts, but it never ends there. So that was me and Nicole Wallace spending, like I said, nearly an entire hour of discussion about what's happening to democracy today. We covered the challenges of the Trump administration's flouting the law in accepting this illegal gift of a $400 million airplane. We talked about the way in which the Department of Justice is not acting as a neutral arbiter or even an advocate for the American people, but really is just the lawyers for Donald Trump. And one of the points I made that I really want to make sure people understand is that the only thing the Department of Justice does right now is backfill for Donald Trump, right? It is an excuse machine for Donald Trump. It provides cover for Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump breaks the law or violates the Constitution, Pam Bondi springs into action to defend the indefensible. The second thing it does is it bestows favors that Donald Trump wants bestowed. So it defends things that Donald Trump wants defended. It provides cover for his allies. It dismisses criminal prosecutions when Donald Trump wants criminal prosecutions dismissed. So it is a favor bestowing operation for his friends and for his political cronies. And then the third is it is weaponized against his political opponents. So it goes after the organizations and the individuals that Donald Trump doesn't like. It seeks vengeance against his perceived enemies. And when you take these three things together and the three-tiered justice system that results, it is going to lead to some pretty dark times for this country in the future. It is why it is such a shame that we have seen so many institutions capitulate, particularly large law firms capitulating, because they are in a position to fight and stand up against this lawlessness. But of course, that is not what we are seeing. That is, however, though, what you get when you subscribe to Democracy Docket. It is fearlessly independent. It is unapologetically pro-democracy. It is news, it's information, it's analysis, it's what you need. And so we have been giving you a lot of video offerings to make sure that you are staying up to date. Please click the subscribe button right now on this video to make sure you are able to track everything that we are providing you in this format. Also, hit the bell to make sure you receive notifications whenever there is new video. And as always, make sure you are subscribed to Democracy Docket's free daily and weekly newsletters. The link to that is also in the show notes below. We'll see you next time.